decide whatever you want.
But it usually more focused on some area
I've been to some sessions, not just there's a couple of different groups that have been going for the last couple of years, and some of the sessions go on. Oh, come on.
All right, we're supposed to be online right now
I've no idea what it means.
for the YouTube.
I'll take your word for it.
Hello, YouTube.
to get up to speed just because the training model for OCI software that we see machine learning is
Yeah, looks good. Or sounds good at least.
Well, I know that next year I have to. Are you going to processing?
Let's do it. But I don't have a microphone today.
Some of it's
Okay.
easy, it's just like, we're going to is there a person? Some pictures you want to
Why didn't we just do Hangouts and you share from here?
Yeah.
in a foreign language.
But I cannot do the Hangout and the whereby same
In
time.
some language I can't even
You don't need to do
understand.
it both at the same time.
Doesn't really have language in there. It should just be a pure picture of fields or potato or something. It's usually in poorer countries and African places.
My stick is the fastest USB stick ever.
Lynn, can you hear us?
Allowed to have pictures of people. Okay, it's the type of area where farmers get the cute debt.
Lynn, Singapore. Hello, Singapore.
There's unlike you with the platform for it, but we're not going to entertain the possibility.
Hey guys, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear
Okay,
you.
that's cool. Yeah, I just unmute. Sorry, I just mute everybody. So just make sure. So we will be starting it now. All right, guys, please.
We'll be starting.
Oh, look at our giant
around,
audience today. Everyone's looking for us over there.
Maybe 2 minutes from now or so.
You guys are starting from 7, right?
Yeah. So you guys will be starting there or?
Yeah, we are just starting now.
Okay. Yeah, our session will start maybe around 7.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. All right, so guys, could you take a seat, please?
Yes, everyone in here.
Yeah. And let me just mute Singapore side. So whenever you guys have a question, please just type in.
I won't see it.
And we just need to wait 2 more people. It comes up.
Your thing is backwards.
I know. I don't know what's going on, but anyway, it looks right in the YouTube, so it doesn't matter.
What? How do I make it
just
show?
Ignore that.
How do I make it show something else?
You can look this side. Everything on the screen will be broadcasted on YouTube.
Yeah, but how do I make it like this?
What do you want?
I want to show this screen.
Huh? No, just drag to the side.
Oh. I won't show that. Too many things in here.
Just open
Hello, everybody. I'm going to. My name is Jim. I work at Couchbase, and I hope that you can hear me because I have no idea. This is the first time doing presentation in this room, but I've come today at the behest of Ken to give a presentation, and I couldn't think about what to talk about, so I decided to talk about code coverage, which is something important for all of us to do. I'll put it on the desktop. All right.
And do you have any slide or not?
I don't have any slides.
Oh, that's cool.
Wait, where's my actual solution?
Well, you put on the desktop, right?
Oh wait, open folder, not open folder. I can just, for some reason it wants to open folder. Visual Studio 2019. I've been using it only for this presentations.
That's cool.
I haven't been using it at my work. We still use 2017. because company hasn't bought 2019 for me yet.
So whenever you're ready, so I just do the opening. Are you ready?
Yeah.
All right. So thanks for coming today. And today is a kind of very interesting and special event because we are doing the Tokyo.net Developer Meetup and the Singapore.net Developer Meetup side by side, real time. Actually, they are starting in 30 minutes, so we are 30 minutes ahead. So we have Jim today, and I'll do the presentation from 8:10 for the AKS what? Wait. AKS 4.net developer. All right, so now it's your time, Jim.
Well, good, because this thing is loading so slowly.
Yeah, and could you just bring the solution
Yeah.
to the other side so that people can
Yeah,
start
definitely.
seeing?
I was just waiting for it to finish loading. Look at it. It's dying. Oh my god, I killed it.
Is it? No, you can't. Just hold tight.
I thought my machine was slow.
Yeah, maybe because we are doing the broadcasting and the remote
Go away.
stuff.
And you have like a bazillion things open right now. Wait, oh, that's what happened. It turned into a tiny window.
Yeah. So just drag to the side, the bump on the top. Yeah.
All right.
Cool.
Oh, now I have to do things up here. So, today I am here to talk to you about code coverage. And I'm wondering, well, crowd in here is not so big, but how many of you, how many people in here are currently gathering their code coverage numbers and consulting them as part of their development and release?
We all do.
Yes. No, I use Visual Studio
Well,
2019 Enterprise.
Yeah, enterprise. Just buy it, please.
Why do you need enterprise? You don't need enterprise. Look how slow this is.
Yeah.
But it's a very important thing. Well, it's not. It's pretty important to do, but for the reason that if you are developing and testing a product, you'd really like to know whether or not, or what parts of your program that you're really hitting, or really not hitting at all. So I need to get the mouse over here. So what I have here is a Visual Studio solution. I have two projects inside here. There's a library called lib2test, and then there's the Meetup November, which is, I guess it automatically got this icon because I added XUnit to it. But it's just a regular, I'll show you something cool first because I love showing this to people. Open. So, this is just an XUnit test, and you'll see it has a theory, which means that I can add data to it, and that'll inject these two values into this test to run it. And then I'm just going to, but look at this syntax. That's not XUnit. That's a library called Fluent Assertions, which can build on top of most of the test frameworks, MS Test, NUnit, XUnit, and you write it this way, and then if you want to switch to a different test framework later for whatever reason, you just install the other one as a NuGet package. It'll automatically detect it and use that one instead. The only thing that doesn't automatically switch over are these annotations, obviously. So,
but that's serial inline data coming from the XUnit?
yeah, so this you can't, I use it at work, but I don't use any theories. I only use fact. And UWP, where I don't use XUnit, I use MS Test. I just using fact equals test attribute from MS Test.
Yeah.
And it's all good, and everything is the same. And I can write the test once and run them in two different engines. I just thought that was a cool thing to do. But what it's testing here is testing the test shift. I mean, I have something that I thought for about a whole 2.5 minutes about. I have this class called do the thing, and it has a public method called shift and divide, which will shift either left or right and then divide by whatever you put in here. Apparently you don't need these because it's telling me the cast is redundant. Great. So divide actually, yeah, that's right, comparing doubles the right way. Don't use equal equal. It'll actually, 2019 will tell you not to do that. But you know, if it's this means if the right number is 0, let's throw a new exception. You can't divide by 0, that's not allowed. If left is 0, then just return 0, or if right is 1, then just return left. Otherwise, do the actual operation. And you know, this is kind of a dumb, contrived example, but it gives you several branches to work with. And so, me, being the naive test writer that I am, wrote this one test, and I thought, well, I got everything done. You know, I tested shift to the left, I tested shift to the right. So that's pretty much, that should be all good. So test explorer. Why is there 4 tests in here? I have no idea. I have no idea why this happens sometimes. They're just in here twice for whatever reason.
That's the rebuild.
Well, rebuild. Let's see if they go away. I wanted to show ReSharper's coverage. I can't do that today because I have to use a different machine. But I have another thing in mind too, so it's okay. Wow! This is a cutting edge computer, isn't it?
Kinda, I think I'm running too much stuff.
I'm using .NET Core 3, by the way, because I'm cool, and no, I don't use it anywhere except for here.
And you're a cool kid, right?
Yeah, it's still here, whatever. Let's try running this one. Maybe it'll go away when I run it. Unexpected error detected. Well, I don't like that very much. Let's try that one. There, that looks like it did better. My test passed and my product's good to go, right? Well, I'm kind of not feeling it very much. Let's go to the command line. All right, let's go to the desktop where my stuff is. Meetup November. Let's try here too. .NET test. Dun, 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 dun. Well, while it's doing that, maybe I'll tell a joke. So there was this beer conference this one time, and there was representatives. They all went to it. You know, the representative from Budweiser, representative from Coors Light, representative from Guinness, and you know, they all took turns making a toast. And so the Budweiser guys turned to make a toast, and so they order a Budweiser toast. And Coors Light, it's their turn. They order a Coors Light toast. And the Guinness, they turn to the Guinness guys, and he says, "Well, give me a Coca-Cola." And the bartender looks at him and says, "A Coca-Cola?" He's like, "Well, nobody else was drinking beer, so I thought we weren't allowed."
Okay.
All right, good. The test passed. Finally, I got in the time span it took to tell a joke. So, all right, no messages while I'm here. Cool. And actually, you can control the. Let's see if it goes faster the second time. With maybe if I turn up the verbosity a little bit, it'll actually output some more stuff while we're waiting.
Either dash V or like dash verbose.
Dash V space N, which is the shorthand for verbosity normal.
Okay.
Actually, I did this once with verbosity diagnostic, and the result was 31 megabytes.
Okay. That's too much.
I usually run this mode when I'm testing because then it'll give me like real time, like spit out test pass, instead of me just waiting there looking at nothing. It'll be like check right down here. Okay. So the next thing I have here is that I've actually installed as a NuGet package dependency this one called coverlet.msbuild. I really like this one in particular. There's lots of coverage libraries, but this one comes with an actual msbuild target that runs automatically just by installing it. And by default, it does nothing so that it doesn't interfere with it. Be careful about this. You have to have at least test SDK 16.1 for it to work, and I didn't figure that out for a while, so I was wondering why it didn't work. But if you go back to the .NET test, if you define a property, I believe it's called collect coverage. Then that signals this library to actually do something. All you have to do is put this property in, and then the target is sort of enabled. And now we get to sit here again while it thinks about what it wants to do. Unfortunately.
Third time for another joke.
Nope.
No.
That's my only joke.
So that's the package is actually extension of the test framework of
No.
Visual Studio
Well,
for the logging purpose.
kind of. Inside the package is a DLL which interacts with the Microsoft Test SDK. And the property enables an actual target. Well, what targets are things that run as part of the actual MS build. So the main one that you all know about is build, but you can extend your project. I spend a lot of time, more than I probably should, inside here. You can actually add your own target just by doing this, and then the runs, or after targets, build. So after build, and then name equals whatever. And then inside here you have steps like compile or copy files. Do all kinds of stuff in here. But the fun part is you can actually have a file called something .targets in your NuGet package, and it'll scoop it up as part of the build. So that's what this one actually does. It has a target in there that runs the coverlet extension and generates your code coverage. And unfortunately, I have to run it again because let me actually look up real quick what exactly the oh man, coverlet. Yeah, searching with Bing. Well, that didn't work very well, did it? Searching for coverlet doesn't is not going.
Coverlet is very vague.
So there it is. That's only the good. All right, Bing. It's third one down. Pretty good.
But it's the first one. Rest are ads.
Oh, that's true. Ads.
But the ad is a bit small.
Yeah. That's how we balance everything.
So actually, it can integrate with VS Test and MS Build. It has a global tool. The .NET tool is actually something that's new with .NET Core 2.1, and the old .NET CLI tool that you put in, maybe if you were doing it during the 1 month where they actually supported it, the .NET CLI tool option inside of your project will actually download a tool as well as like a NuGet package. But they stopped doing that in favor of. Now come on, which one is it? Oh, quick start. Oh, this just goes down here. Darn it. Well, I was going to rely on my history and my own, but I don't have it now. Let's see. It's a coverage format, I think. I bet I can go to the Wikipedia. Not Wikipedia, but the wiki in here. It'll tell me. I don't want to run the wrong one, because then I'll be sitting there waiting for it. Come on, wiki. Show me what you've got.
So it means they have a good documentation.
Yeah.
Yeah, everything's so sorry.
Yeah. Go there, please. Why didn't it go there? That's so weird.
I don't know, maybe this guy connecting to my Wi-Fi. Not called Wi-Fi. I have no idea.
Hi, it won't actually go there. That's lame.
Mm.
Let me try to guess. Actually, let me just step over here to my machine and do something while you all can't see it. And check what I read here last time.
And meanwhile, if the Singapore side of the people, if you have a question, please type in the chat window.
It's coverlet output format.
Cover it output format.
Coverlet output format. And I'm going to do cobertura. Oh. I usually use LCOV, but for some reason I couldn't get it to work with this one. I use LCOV at my job when I use it, and it works fine, but for some reason, whatever. Cobertura, I don't even know what it is, but it works. So.
Okay.
The cobertura, I think, is like some kind of standard code coverage format. It's basically just XML.
Okay, so it's a very, very standard one.
But I think there's a cobertura like actual service that you can submit it to for display and stuff like that.
I see. That's interesting.
But the reason that I wanted to do this is because of the next step. That well, I'm going to do that while it's doing that. Because the next thing I want to do is report generator. This is a fascinating repository because basically all this program does is it takes a ton of different kinds of input formats for code coverage and converts them into various output formats.
That's a cobertura.
Yeah, cobertura is an input format and an output format for this one actually.
Okay.
So I need
It's
to.
quite a good tool, actually.
Are you using that?
I've used it.
Cool.
So the one I want to use here is the global tool. So I'll run this to put it into the. Oh wait, I've already actually done this part.
No. You're on my PC.
I know you, but I copied it over when I copied
Okay, that's
over
cool.
the.
Yeah, you can install
I installed it locally instead of globally,
Yeah, okay.
so you can actually see it. But let me. I can make sure it's there. Oh, okay. So I don't. ls tools. Yeah, there it is. So tools, report generator.exe, reports, and I'm going to give it. This is actually the one I just. The one that I just generated is here. I'll open it for you, but you can't see me navigating to it, so just wait for a minute. I can't open with Windows with VS Code. Can I open code? Or is there confidential stuff in there?
It shouldn't be open in the sharing side, I think.
Yeah, but I want to show them the.
And make sure to close the document first. I don't know what kind of document I opened, so.
Ken looks at illicit XML documents at work.
Why my PC is so slow today?
I don't know. I think that you picked a bad service to use. Here, let me go get rid of that one. This one is just empty.
And just drag and drop.
That didn't work. Oh, it did.
Yeah, it's simply just work.
So this is what it output. Just a whole bunch of information about which lines were hit and whatnot. But this is not very useful for an average person to look at. It's good for a analyzing tool to look at. But say that you have a. Not that I'm saying this is what happens to me, but you have people above you always demanding the coverage number and the lines of code, and they want to look at it in a pretty format. Totally not what happens to me, but. So I want to take that report and generate it something with it. So I'm going to give it the. Actually put. Yeah, there we go. Reports type is the reports is that, and the target directory, targeters I think it is. I will just say that it's going to be code coverage. It'll be the code coverage folder in the same directory. I think that's all we need to run it.
So just generating the report behind?
No target directory, sorry. So it's not target ders, it's target dir without the S.
Did you only specify one directory?
Yeah.
Alright, cool.
And it's by default it writes out an HTML page. So you can see in here the code coverage folder. I don't want to open it with whatever that is.
Open with.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, that's H. Just put that.
Okay.
It's a Coronian version of H.
Oh, I see. I wasn't cool enough to get that.
And just use a tab. Just drag the tab. No, only just tab.
I want to put the tab. There you can see nothing. But here's the report that it generated. I have line coverage. Oh my goodness, that doesn't look very nice. 62.5% branch coverage. Well, what's going on here? Well, there's not very much going on. So I like this. You can group it. There's not very many things in here, but by assembly, by assembly, by namespace level 1, and if you have the levels namespace means like the dots separated, so you can group it by like levels of dots in the namespace, so that you get whatever grouping that you want. So let's go into the one class that I have, and inside here you'll actually see like every single line here, and it tells you which one that it actually went through, and which one that it missed. So, oh my goodness, look at all this in here. Like we missed this branch, we missed this branch, we missed this branch, we never hit these lines. So, in this example, it's probably not, you know, at the end of the world that we didn't hit these because, well, yay. But if imagine things start getting more complex and you didn't realize that you didn't hit these things. That's very valuable information for you. And as a bonus, since this is what all the cool kids do now, let's see. I can't remember the actual thing, so I'm just going to run report generated by itself, and it's going to tell me. That thing is going as slow as like, it's like a dot matrix printer up there. Let's see. Report types, okay. See, Cobertura is actually an output type too. So, report types. Oh no, I'm using a US keyboard.
That's H keyboard.
HTML and badges. Report generation took 8 seconds, the slowest report generation ever. Now inside here we have these badges. So let's open one. It opened in Internet Explorer. The fun little things that you get to put on your GitHub README that says, I'm a good boy and I did my homework. This is an SVG also, so, you know, it scales.
Which is good.
I can't get it to zoom in anymore, though.
Yeah, that's 400% already. It was very small anyway.
Yeah, nice and smooth.
Yeah.
And there's all kinds of output formats, too. You can do inline HTML, which is one big HTML page and not like a folder of HTML pages. You can do other XML output. You can do like pretty much anything that you could imagine, and I'm sure you probably can't imagine very much because who thinks about code coverage output formats, but anything, like you come in there, you'd be like, I kind of want this, and it's probably there. So, good. It's a nice time for me to stop. It's almost exactly 8 p.m., and I hope that everybody will be able to see how I did it from the command line, and that makes it easy to do in a continuous integration environment like Jenkins and stuff like that, so that you can even incorporate it as if your code coverage drops too much, then you can fail the build or stuff like that, which is
That's a good idea.
Yeah, a lot of people do that. Like my manager wants me to keep the code coverage 80% or above at all times, and then for the other 20%, we have to go and figure out whether the effort of getting to the last 20% is worth all the development time, and usually it's not, because unless you design something to be testable from the beginning, it's hard to make it that way afterwards. All right.
All right, thank you, Jim.
Let me inject. Do you hear the stadium full of people?
All right, now we back to Singapore. So let me just unmute there.
I managed to talk for 30 minutes from like a 3-minute presentation.
All right, guys, can you hear me?
I don't think they can. I thought I was muted the whole time.
Yeah. All right, Singapore people, I put you to the full screen here.
I'm not paying attention. I'm not going to close this door.
Yeah.
Audible.
If you put it close enough, it'll close itself.
How are you going to open it? People hate all the normal places.
I'm not sure they're actually looking at the screen.
Yeah.
Unless they're having munchies as well.
Lin. Hello.
Especially when it gets to American pizza.
All right, so Singapore side will be starting in 3 minutes, so let's take a 3 minutes break.
Can everyone hear me? Yeah. So today we have two meetups happening. One is here, and the other meetup is happening in Tokyo, 1 hour. Anyone who's working around CBP area, Changi Business Park? Anyone working like quite far from here, like downtown area, west side? Yes, thanks for coming. It was like a part of that. So the Azure community Singapore, they usually hold this meetup around downtown area, especially when Microsoft was still residing in One Marina Bay or around the downtown area. And the recent meeting, I think, is kind of proper. So the recent meetups has been in, I think, Block 71. And now the first time that we're holding here at this Chat. And we try to look into various other ways of sharing to the community. So I think 2 months ago, they started the YouTube Live as well to share technical content. So that's and by the way, Nicole, joining the organizer for the agriculture. So this community, we have a shepherd program. So this is like our call to the community. In case you have interest in volunteering, you have some interesting technical topics to share with the community. If you want to help some way, like sponsor stuff. So we have this application form, or it's just a form just to let our that, hey, I'm interested to help out the community. Here's what I can do. Here's what I can share. Let's go there. We also have open source projects hosted in GitHub that we include dotnet. You can find other different projects there for nicer customization and so on. And let's say if you have like interesting open source project that you want to be working on, and then you want to like engage the community here in community, you can check with the organizer. Maybe you can send a pull request to the main repo, and then we can have it shared. And then for this group, usually the types of meetups are usually talk technical content sharing and so on. Previously, we also had, I think, workshops in terms of specific for certain technology like IoT, Azure onboarding, and so on. Recently, we started with YouTube streaming as well. The movie, and it's been a long while since I haven't attended the movie yet. But if you have like any ideas in mind, feel free to tell the organizer. So this is the link for the streaming. I think we also put in here the say .NET conference and other videos related to other communities in the world. So today we're going to be having 2 sessions, 2 talks. The first talk will be about Azure Kubernetes Service for .NET developers. It will be shared by Ken from Japan. It will be streamed live. And then the next one will be about YM. YM is a static content generator in .NET Core. So you might have heard of other static content generator like Hugo, Jekyll. So this is another part that we have .NET Core. Will be shared by Russell. I'm not sure how to pronounce that. Yeah. And without further ado, we can begin. I'll just share Ken's stream session. Ken, can you hear us?
Yes, I can.
Yeah. So yeah, we are ready here in Singapore. I'll give the floor to you. You can take it from there.
All right, that's cool. Can you see my screen?
Yeah.
All right, so let me start. So this is Ken from Tokyo and Microsoft Japan, and thanks for giving me this opportunity to share in the Azure Kubernetes service in Tokyo and for the Singapore. We have a handful of people in this Tokyo room. Yay! Woo! And what's up, Singapore? All right, so today I want to talk about the Azure Kubernetes service, but before doing that, I just want to do some survey. How many people in the Singapore knowing about Azure Kubernetes service? even just a word.
Anyone who knows about entrepreneur service, maybe around 5 or 5. Oh, yeah, that's why we're a lot of us are
Is it many or any?
around 5 people.
Okay.
So,
How about in this room? Yeah, heard of that. So how many people actually using the Kubernetes? Okay, in Tokyo side, nobody using the Kubernetes service.
My company develops a Kubernetes operator.
All right.
yeah, okay. Yeah, not much also.
Okay. So, and if you're really interested in the Kubernetes service, you can go for the YouTube to try to find a bunch of the video. So today, what I want to do is I actually doing the more like the demo heavy and try to give you some feeling how you can utilize the Kubernetes service by using the Azure. And let me start with the a case overview. So background of the history, and as you see on the left-hand side, we had a traditional deployment, meaning we buy the hardware, installing Windows Server, and installing the IIS services, and installing the ASP.NET or even ASP application on top of it. This is kind of 2 decades ago. Is that 2 decades ago? Yeah, right. It's 2019 already. And then after that, VM will be emerged, so virtualized deployment. So we still have the hardware. Then we have the operating system like the Windows hypervisor. Then we are creating the virtual machines on top of it. So let's say I had a 64 gigabyte RAM server, right? Not 10 years. It's kind of 7 years ago. And I could running 4 or 5 VMs on top of my Windows server, which is good, but it has too much overhead because let's imagine when you have the virtual machine on top of the actual Windows server, but this virtual machine is another Windows server, meaning this guy have the mouse driver, this guy may have the floppy driver, this guy maybe have the CD-ROM driver, which I don't use it because I just want to run in the application inside the VM, right? I don't need any actual physical kind of stuff, but because this is virtualizing everything, we cannot simply say we don't need this mouse, right? Then the Docker is coming, so container technology. So we still have hardware, of course, yeah. Then we have the operating system. Then on top of it, we have the container runtime. And inside the container runtime, we have the bunch of the container instances. And it's more like the optimized version of the purely running the application. And now let's imagine I have 3 pod or 3 container running in my environment. The first one could be ASP.NET Core, and the second one could be ASP.NET Core API, and third one could be SQL Server, right? So this is my very small deployment of my web application. Then, because my web application getting more popular, more people comes in, so I need to scale, right? And this is good because I can make some money. But at some point, by some reason, some of the pod may be failing. Is that because of what? Because of something, right? Something went wrong all the time. And another pod may be down, right? And in case I don't need that amount of the pod anymore, I also want to reduce the amount of the pod because if I running too much pod without doing nothing, I need to keep paying the money, right? I want to save it or I want to optimize the workload, right? And reduce. And sometimes I want to do the auto heal of the pod. But imagine when you have the Docker, for example, and if you're running everything manually or everything by one, this is too hard. That's where we need the orchestration of the pod. So it doesn't matter how many pods you're running, but we still need orchestrator. And there are many orchestrator applications like the Docker Swarm, and one of the industry standard at this moment, as you can see in the logo, is a Kubernetes. So if you never heard of the Kubernetes, don't be afraid. It's just a container orchestration. So what container orchestration does is a service discovery and load balancing. So so let's say I have 10 web pod, meaning 10 web servers. When somebody hitting the application by using load balancer, I want to distribute the workload to 10 pod because I have 10, right? Then we need load balancer. Is that the hardware load balancer like F5? It could be good to have, but then everything should be in the software world. So Kubernetes gives the load balancing capability and the service discovery capability. And the storage have to be orchestrated as well. Because I may have 3 pod talking to the same storage, right? And whenever I create another pod, the another pod may also have to mount the new storage, right? The storage orchestration is another thing I need to think about. Then automated rollout and rollbacks. Because whenever I have the new version, awesome new version, checked in, do the building, the test coverage is 100%, and everything looks so cool, so I roll out. Then all of a sudden I found a bug. So I need to roll back everything, right? And if you have 1,000 pod, for example, what happens? Do you want to do one by one? No, right? And automatic beam packing and the self-healing. So there are so many things you need to do with these bunch of the containers, right? Because containers are supposed to be very small package, and it should be distributed system. So it's very easily going like 10 to 100 to 1,000 to I don't say million, but 10,000. So we need some application to manage everything. That is where the Kubernetes comes in. And Kubernetes is just another service, like the Windows Server or the IIS service or any other like DevOps service. So they have master, and master have these services. You don't have to know about the detail, just ignore. And it also has the node, and it has the others component as well. Oops, please wait, my PowerPoint froze. I cannot proceed any further. Come on, PowerPoint, do your job. And by some reason, my PC is very slow today. Yeah, there you go. And we also need to do the web UI. I want to do the monitoring. I want to do the logging, security, blah, 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 right? And when we think about the Kubernetes, it's still another system, meaning we need to installing the software, Kubernetes software, into my hardware or into my VM. Meaning we have to do the operating system management. If I installing Linux, if I install the Kubernetes on top of it, I have to do the patching of the Linux, right? Or I need to do the backup restore, because whenever I configure something, I want to keep the state, right? And if something going bad, I want to restore or recover, right? So even though Kubernetes is great to manage all the pod, it's human being responsibility or my responsibility to manage Kubernetes itself, right? I still need to manage Kubernetes. Then Kubernetes itself have to install, you need to configuration, and Kubernetes has the versions, and it's also have the security, right? Because I need to think about how to secure my environment. So there are so many things I need to do because this is just another software, right? So what's the solution? So that's AKS, Azure Kubernetes Service comes in. So let me just read the definition of what is Kubernetes or AKS. The fully managed Azure Kubernetes service makes deploying and managing containerized application easy. It offers serverless Kubernetes and integrated continuous integration and continuous delivery experience, and enterprise-grade security and governance. How do you feel? All right, so I just try to rephrasing what I just said. I just took it from the documentation. All right, so the master node. So master node, we are just, Microsoft is just what question? No?
No, I finally got Whereby to work.
Okay. Okay. All right, so the master node is the place Kubernetes try to manage everything for their node. But master node, AKS, Microsoft manage master node. So you don't have to think about master node. You just ask Microsoft, hey, give me the Kubernetes. Then Microsoft give you the Kubernetes. and you don't have to touch anything about master. We take care of the master. Then you need your node, because master do the orchestration of what? Of your application, meaning your pod, right? And you need to have somewhere to make your pod running. That's the node. So you have to have your node, right? Then you need to create VM to support the Kubernetes node, and you need to install it. But do you know how to install in VM and join to the Kubernetes master? And do you know which component you need to install to the VM to make it Kubernetes node? At least I don't. I have no idea what to do. So what Kubernetes service doing, or AKS doing, is whenever you need a node, you just say, I need one node, I need two nodes. Then we prepare or provision a node, which is Kubernetes component installed, and already hook up to your master, so that you can just start using. No worry about which component you need to install. It's just everything installed for you. And others, it's Azure. So it's so secure. Why you guys are laughing? So we all Azure have the security feature, monitoring feature, logging feature, dev tool integration, etc., etc. So you don't have to think about adding new services, because Azure existing service can take care of the environment. And how to start? It's very easy, just 3 commands. So first of all, I want to create in the AKS environment. So I just do the AZ AKS create. And I specify which resource group I'm creating the AKS. And I just give the name. Then I just say generate SSH key. By doing this command, and I think it takes like 5 to 10 minutes up to how many cluster you want to specify by the default. By default, it's creating the 3 node. Could be 2, no, could be 3, yeah, by default. And then once this is created, you just do the AZ AKS install CLI. The reason why you want to run this is AZ is a command line tool for Azure, right? When AKS creating the cluster for you, it's the Kubernetes cluster. Meaning, whenever you log into the AKS, the command line you want to use is the Kubernetes command line, which is called the kube control or the kubectl. I don't know how to pronounce that. There is some CLI tool of the Kubernetes. And do you know how to install? Do you know where to go? Maybe GitHub. But this command actually installing the Kubernetes command and do all the configuration for you, right? Now you have a cluster, you have CLI installed. Now you just need to log into your service so that you can run your Kubernetes command, right? To do so, you just need to run this command, AZ-AKS, get credentials, and specify which resource group you provision your Kubernetes cluster, then name of the cluster. So basically, if you run these 3 commands, you already have Kubernetes. And it takes from 5 minutes to 10 minutes. But I don't know if it's really working that fast, so I pre-provision everything before doing the session so that I don't want to waste your time. So let me just go into my, where's my Azure? My Azure. There you go. All right, so this is my Azure environment. And if I come in down to see, there you go. So this is AKS for .NET. And I will show all the command I was using to set up this environment. All right. So if I see, come on, ooh, too big. Sorry. All right. So this is an AKS cluster I provisioned. And in addition to that, because this is container runtime, right? We are running the container in the Azure Kubernetes service. Then, of course, obviously, we need container registry, right? Otherwise, where you download your container from, maybe Docker Hub, yes, but in my case, I'm using Azure Container Registry so that I can putting all the container into my Azure Container Registry and asking the Kubernetes get the container from my container registry, right? So I created Azure Container Registry and Kubernetes service, right? And this is a command I was using. So obviously this is more than 3 commands because I was creating a bit more. Because, I mean, in the marketing slide, we say just recommend, yes, that's cool. But in reality, as a developer, I need to know all the detail, right? All the detail steps. So the first line, AZ group create, this is I creating the resource group, right? So I said just specify resource group name, but you need to have the resource group in the first place. So I'm just creating the resource group by running the command. Then after that, I creating the Azure Container Registry. For my understanding, whenever I talk to the customer, you need container registry to using the Kubernetes, right? Because you are not directly deploying the application to the Kubernetes, so you are deploying the container to the Kubernetes, meaning you have to have the registry somewhere. So this is a command to creating the Azure Container Registry, right? Then I make it admin enabled, meaning we can log into the ACR by using username and password. Then after that, I was creating the one role-based access enabled the service account or service principal. Why? Because this is all about security. So Kubernetes is running under which account, right? So I want to assign one service principal for Kubernetes to run. Then I need to assign all the privilege that service have to use, right? So after that, what I did is I'm showing the resource group and the ACR. So the one obvious thing I want to do is let the Kubernetes to connect into my container registry to downloading the image. Otherwise, you cannot start running the container, right? Meaning I need to assign the role to the service principal, which can talk into my Azure Container Registry to get in the image out, right? So what I did is I need to understand the Azure Container Registry resource information by running this command. Let me just run this command so that you can see the output. So if I run this one, it's try to query the information in Azure. Yeah, I think I'm connecting to my mobile router by mistake. All right, so this is a resource ID of my Azure Container Registry. So this is a unique ID of my ACR. Then after I getting this information, I do AZ role assignment create, meaning I am creating the role assignment to what? To the service principal I just created. To what? To ACR of what? Of ACR privilege. So I create service principal. I check the resource name of my ACR, Azure Container Registry, and I'm giving the ACR privilege to that service principal, so that by using that service principal, Azure Kubernetes service can download the image from my ACR. Make sense? All right, so I'm pretty ready now to installing the Azure Kubernetes. So I do AZ AKS create, -G is stands for the resource group. So specify the resource group I just created on the line 1. And I give the name AKS for .NET. Then I specify I just need 2 nodes. I want to do 1 node, but to make it better, 2 node. And then I specify the service principal I created and asking the Kubernetes to using this service principal to run. Right? So this is how I can lock down all the privilege to the Kubernetes service. Right? Then I give the client secret, blah, 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 and just waiting 5 minutes. My Kubernetes is up and run. Yeah. Then I just do the AKS install CLI and the AKS get credential. Now my cluster is ready. So even though I said 3 lines of the command, which is true, by the way, but I just going a bit further to make more like production-ready environment with 10 lines of code, which is not bad, right? Then I already connected to my Kubernetes environment. So what I can do is kube control or kubectl or the kube. Let me just call this kube control today, okay? Kube control, and I want to do get nodes. And by doing that, this guy gives me all the node information of this Kubernetes. So I have 2 nodes, right? And if I look into one node, very detailed, kube control and describe. Describe is a good command to describe all the detail of the element. So describe node boom. So this is a detailed information of that particular node. So if I just scroll up. All right, so this is a command I just issued. So this is the name of the node. And this is an agent, meaning this is a node of the Kubernetes. Then it has the labels. So each node or each component of the Kubernetes can have a label. So it said agent pool equal to node pool 1. And the beta Kubernetes IO/arc is AMD64. This is architecture of the operating system. And I'm using Linux. By the way, if you are really big fan of the Windows like me, and if you want to use the Windows VM as a node, yes, we are supporting that as a preview. So if you want to run in the Windows container, you need to have the Windows VM as a node, right? That's the only way to run in the Windows container at this moment. And the Kubernetes supporting that with a, no, I don't say Kubernetes, I say AKS supporting the Windows node as a preview feature, okay? All right, so if I come in back to the Azure portal, and let's see. So interesting enough, by some reason, I don't know the reason why, but we are creating the separate resource group for all the node to hide all the detailed information. So if I go into AKS, and if I come into my, come on, node pools, and inside here, I see my node pool 1, and the node count is 2, right? And this is the VM, as I said, meaning somewhere in the Azure portal, you should be able to see the VM, right? So if I go back into the resource group and you find one interesting name said MC underscore AX4.net, AX4.net East US. So this is my node, right? So if I open this resource group, then let me just zoom out a bit so that we can see everything at once. So I have the load balancer, and I have the virtual network, and I have the virtual machine scale set, and the network security group, and the routing table, blah, 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 right? And if I go into the virtual machine scale set, I have instances. And you already know how many instances I have, right? 2. I have 2 instances here, right? 1 each. So this is a very beauty side of the AKS. So you don't have to know all the detail about the Azure VM. And you don't have to know all the detail about the Kubernetes. You're just asking the AKS to create 2 nodes. All of a sudden, underlying technology, you don't have to care. Everything will be set up for you, right? Now I have node. Yes, once I have node, what I can do, I can create in the container. My bad. All right, so what I can do now is if I come in back, and let's see what I have at this moment. So I do kube control, get all, meaning I get everything. And when I say everything, because I just set up this environment, I have nothing. This service is the endpoint of the cluster, so that the internal component can talk into the cluster. And as you can see, it's kind of private IP, 10.0.0.1, right? So I want to create something fast. What fast? Of course, SQL Server fast, because I need a SQL Server to run. Otherwise, I cannot adding the SP.NET Core, right? So to do that, somebody say, why is that?
Should be using Couchbase.
Yeah, right. Does the Couchbase have the container?
I think so.
Yeah.
We have a Kubernetes operator.
Okay. Why not? All right. So to do so, actually, we can create in the entire component one by one manually, but I don't want to do that because Kubernetes is more like the desired state desired configuration state. I don't know how to describe. What I want to say is you can describe the desired state of the service and ask the Kubernetes to make it happen. All right. So this is a YAML file. And as you may know, SQL Server using storage, right? Otherwise, we cannot store the data. So we say, hey, I need the storage, and I want to use it as an Azure disk, right? Then what kind of the Azure disk I want to use? Premium, because I need a very fast SSD for my storage, right? Then this is just storage standalone. Nobody talking to this guy. So I need to have the persistent volume claim, meaning I have a storage and I have a pod, and from pod point of view, I want to claim to using the disk. So I need to get the disk persistent claim definition. So I create persistent volume claim, and I say the metadata is MS SQL data. This is just a name of this claim, right? And I'm saying I want to use Azure disk, right? And I want to use just one pod should be accessed into disk, right? As I said, we can have multiple pod access into the same disk so that we can share the data, but this is SQL Server. You don't want other process touching your data, right? Only SQL Server should be able to touch the SQL Server data. That's why I said read write once, meaning only one pod can talk into the disk, nobody else. And I want to have the 8 gigabyte storage because my database is huge. You can claim a terabyte or petabyte. Then I will create the secret. Why? Because I want to create in the MS SQL SA password, right? And this is my password. Can you read that? It can, but the thing is I'm doing the basics for encoding also my password. So I don't say it's too secure, but this is a way to.
That's
yeah.
cutting edge technology.
Yeah. And now the only thing I do the deployment, right? So I call this MS SQL deployment, and I want to have one replica because SQL Server 20. So by the way, this is SQL Server 2017 Linux container version. Did you know that you can install the Linux on SQL Server on Linux, and we can just using the container, right? So this is a one replica, and I want to say this is my MS SQL, not MySQL, MS SQL, all right? And this is where you can get the image from. So mcr.microsoft.com is the official Docker Hub registry name. So you can downloading the SQL Server 2017 latest from there, right? Then I say on the port, I want to enable port 1433. Then I want to use the developer edition because it's for free. And I want to accept the URL. Then I specify the password. Name MySQL, keyword SA password. This is where I created my password above here. This is the one, right? Then I want to mount my SQL DB to this path. And I want to use the volume from MS SQL data volume by using this persistent volume claim. So everything connecting back to the pod. I create storage, I create the storage claim, I created the secret. Now I can create in the SQL Server by specifying disk, persist the claim and secret, right? Then lastly, I want to create service because if I run the SQL Server, if nobody talking to that, it's a waste. So we have to open up the port to internal and external, right? It depends. But this time I want to try to connect it from my end, from my PC, from my Windows 10 PC. So I just using the load balancer to open up the public IP, which I don't recommend you guys to do that anyway. But today for the demo purpose, I do that. All right, so now I have this definition. And I'm coming back to my script. And what I can do is kube control dash apply dash F. By the way, this F stands for file, not force. Okay, file. and I just want to deploy secret2070.yaml. All right, so if I'm doing that, Kubernetes is the clever enough to understand my configuration if I'm writing it right, and it keeps creating a bunch of the object. It creates trace, it creates the persistent volume claim, it creates the secret, and it of course creates the pod, and it creates the service, right? By doing that, I can install the SQL Server. And just imagine how many minutes or how many hours you have to use to install SQL Server, 20, maybe 15, or the 16, or even 2000 into Windows Server, right? Maybe 3 hours? Yeah. You need to use 1 hour to try to find the reference key, right? Now, this is that easy. So let's see the status of my pod first then. Get pods. And the first time it takes a bit of time. So container is creating it because Kubernetes sees the definition of the YAML, knowing where the image should be downloaded from, connecting to the Docker Hub. Now it's downloading the image. It may take time if the image is big, right? Then after that, it hooks up all the disk and the services and running. So let's see that again by doing the watch. Oh, it's already running. Okay, I don't need to watch. Then what I can do is kube control get service. All right. So I have the internal cluster, the IP. This was existing there before, right? So this is a new service I was creating, load balancer. And the internal IP has been created already. External not yet, right? So let me just run it again. If that's still pending, no. So this is an external IP address which I can connect into from my local. And let's try. And because I don't say encrypt, but I encode my password by using the base 64. Nobody knowing my super password. So if you can write in a very quick program to decode the base 64 string, maybe.
You need a program. There's websites for it.
Yeah, right. There's a website to just copy and paste the base 64 string, right, to decode. Yeah, that's so true. Now, this is Azure Data the Studio, so that I can connect into any SQL Server or even Postgres server. And let's start launching up right now. Come on. Yeah, everything taking too much time today. I think we should using a different computer for the YouTube broadcast.
How?
By Jim to buy new computer. Thank you, Jim. Let me just delete this one. So connecting to my Microsoft SQL Server, and this is the IP address there, and SQL login, and SA, and I need to remember my password. My password is really complex. So
It's password.
no, it is not. It is not password.
Password 1.
No, it's kind of similar, but no.
ABC 1 2 3.
No, it's not 1 2 3. All right. So my password is this, which you don't see.
Password.
No. If you read my blog, actually I'm writing down the password there.
That's no fun.
Yeah, because I need to let the people know how to create in the basics for encoded version, which is this one. So I'm doing the echo to pipe to the basics for.
Wow, you're so lead.
I don't know how many people in Singapore can read Japanese, but if you're interested in or using the Bean translator, just subscribe my blog. And it's taking a bit of time. Come on.
You're taking a bit of time. You're gonna not have time for the Singapore one.
Yeah. No. I will finish by the time. No worries.
By what time?
By some time. Yeah. All right. So now I'm connecting to my SQL server. Don't save. And I just want to run one query to prove this is actually SQL Server 20. So select star from what we want to do.
Delete
Say,
star.
no, I don't want to delete my instance. So sys databases. And if I run that, executing, and there you go. So this is just another SQL Server running in the Kubernetes cluster, right?
Wow, it's been there for 16 years.
Yeah, that's so true, right? Created on 2003. Yeah. All right, so that's the SQL part. Then what I want to show you is how you are creating the .NET application, which can talk into the SQL Server, because this talk is for the .NET developer, right? So I opened my Visual Studio 2019. How many people are using the Visual Studio 2019? I hope everybody.
Only for this meetup.
It started, but it crashes a lot.
What? Really? Okay. You need to tell me a bit more detail. All right, so I go for the new project, and I want to create the ASP.NET Core web application. So go to next. And what's the name? So maybe Core 3 web app application. Come on, application. Yeah. I don't care if I do the mistype. Just create. Then whenever you create the ASP.NET Core or ASP.NET, you have the option to make it as a Docker, right? So you want to do the .NET Core 3, right? Of course. And I want to do the MVC, and I enable Docker support for Linux, right? And I want to also doing the authentication by changing this one to the SQL Server. So I just want to do the individual user account. And OK. And create.
Why do they call it MVC for ASP.NET, but MVVM for everything else?
Yeah. I think they will be changing everything later, right?
Good.
I don't know. I have no idea. So whenever you are creating the application by using the Docker enabled, meaning your application should be run inside the Docker container. All right. So now my Visual Studio 2019 is relaunched after the project template created. So this part is the MVC application, and sooner or later, you should be able to see the Docker part comes in. Come on, issue comes in. No, not yet. Yeah, everything runs so slow today. Come on. Yeah, sorry for the delay.
People getting angry over there. Can you hear them throw something across the room over there?
And there you go. So I have the Docker file.
It's been there for 2 whole minutes.
Yeah. All right. So whenever you creating the project by you making the Docker enable, meaning the Visual Studio provision the Docker file with your project, your solution. And I am not quite sure how many people are familiar with reading the Docker file, but it's quite easy to read if you know the .NET command. So if I open that, so it said it starts from the ASP.NET 3, the master stream, meaning this is a runtime only image, which I want to put everything into the image. So I call this as a base. And working directory is the /app, and the expose port is 80 and 443, because this is web application, right? And I'm using the separate container image, calling the SDK colon 3.0 buster. So this is just a runtime. This one including the SDK. And the reason why I want to use this SDK one is because I want to use in this Docker instance to build my application. So I changed my work directory to the /source, and I just copy C# project file first, because I just need one file to the .NET Restore. So inside the Docker instance, I run the .NET Restore by specifying this C# project file. And once all the dependency is restored, then I just copy everything, right? And after that, I do the .NET build with a release build. Now, this container instance have the build image, which I want to copy to my runtime image, because this guy is great to have SDK, but the size is way huge, way bigger than the slimmed down version. And as I said, the AKS have to download the image from the any container registry. So we want to minimize the size of the image. All right. Then I am using this build image, and now I'm calling that publish. It's just naming. And I just do the .NET publish to creating nice application under the publish folder. And lastly, I'm just using the base, and I just call it final now. And I'm making the app working directory to the /app, and copy from publish, meaning from this image, and from this path to current path. So all the compiled assemblies will be copying over to my /app directory, right? Then I specify the entry point of the container. So I want to run .NET, and this is my application DLL. So this is how I'm creating the Docker image. And once I create Docker image, what I want to do is I want to put in that Docker image to the Docker container. But before doing that, I want to do the local debug, right? So if I come into my app settings, by default, this guy is connecting to the local, the SQL Server Express to do the work. But now, because I'm provision my server in AKS, let me just try to connect in here directly. So this is my server, right? And I just need to say, because this is not like the trusted connection anymore, because I'm using the SA and username password. So I say user ID equal SA, comma, password is my super duper secret password, which is nope. Where am I? There you go. So this is my password. So by simply changing the connection string, you basically connecting to the SQL Server online, because I already proved that by using the ADO, right? So when you do the debug or the build or the deployment by using the SQL Server in the AKS, you can do that. I don't recommend because it has a security issue, right? But this is the one way you can do that. And after that, you just build to do the the Docker build and publish to the AKS, right? So let me move into my another environment which I have everything in it. So if I move into my different environment, resource group, and this is a .NET Core sample resource group, which has another set of the AKS and the container registry, which I just created 1 week ago. So in this ACR, I can directly pushing my image to my ACR from Visual Studio. So you don't have to know how to connect into container registry, but you just right click publish to the container registry. And inside here, if I see the repositories, I have my repo. Come on. Loading. Then I have a bunch of the different versions of the repository, right? Then I just need to deploy my web application by using another YAML definition, which I will show you right now. All right, so this is a Core 3 web app, deployment. So unlike the SQL Server, because this is just another ASP.NET web application, you don't need any disk persistence. Because everything going to the database, you don't have to store anything on the local disk. That's why I don't have any local disk definition here. But I just have the deployment. And I say I want to have the 2 replica at least for the deployment. Then I say, hey, get the image from here. Right? Then the question is, if the Kubernetes can connect into this container registry, yes or no? That is why I created the service principal on the first place to give the access privilege for the ACR to pull access from this repository, right? Then I can specify how many CPU or how much memory I can assign to this pod, right? So each pod could be small or could be big, depending on your definition. And you can specify the minimum resource you have to assign. And you can also specify maximum resource this pod can consume, right? Because I only have 2 nodes. If I provision like 10 pod, I want to avoid the racing condition, right? So this is how I organize my resource. Then I need to set another service for the port 80 because this is the application I need to externally open the port so that everybody can talk into my server, right? Then there's another ingress I set up. So I can open the port from pod, but it's direct connection to the pod, which is not good. Why? 1, not secure. 2, I don't have much control because the load balancer is just level 7 load balancer, right? So what I can do is I can hook up with the web application proxy or WAP because Azure providing that capability, and the WAP is integration with the AKS. So we can simply using that technology to hook up with the AKS environment, right? So this is how we are doing that. But because I don't want to separate these configuration, I have one big YAML configuration at once. So let me just open that one. All right, so this my app YAML have everything. I have SQL storage, I have persistent volume claim, and I have the secret, I have the SQL server, and I also have the web application. Then, because I can define everything by using YAML file, meaning this is my source code of what? Of infrastructure. So this is another way, not purely true, but this is another way to make the infrastructure as a code, or the application definition as a code, or application desired state as a code. So I can just check in this source code to my repository and run in the Azure DevOps to asking the Kubernetes to provision everything as I desired, right? And if I apply the same file again, for example, if I apply the SQL Server 2017 YAML again here, does it creating another SQL Server 2017? No, it doesn't, because it's just checking the differentiation between current deployment versus new deployment. If nothing changed, it says unchanged, right? And if I change something here to, okay, no more load balancer, and I just want to keep it the private. Then it should detect, oops. All right, no worries. I just make the bad YAML file. But if I specify something different, the Kubernetes is clever enough to only see the difference and apply only the difference, right? So basically that's it. So nothing too hard, but there is something you at least need to know what Kubernetes is all about. So Kubernetes, Azure Kubernetes service is a content orchestration, meaning you have to have your application as a container. But luckily enough, Microsoft providing bunch of the service as a container. SQL Server, yes, 2017, 2019, everything containerized. If you want to run the cognitive service, yes, we also make the cognitive service container. Like if you want to run the LUIS application, for example, LUIS run as a container. If you want to run the computer vision, we also provide the computer vision container service, right? So you can put any container inside your AKS and just do whatever you want. And there are so many other topics I need to talk about, like the how to auto-scale, how to auto-scale down, how to the auto-scale to the node level, how to auto-scale the pod level, how to secure, how to have the different pool type, blah, 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 blah. There are so many things I need another 3 days to complete the entire session. But this is the very beginning of the AKS for the .NET developer, right? So one thing you need to do is whenever you create a new application, just check the Docker enable. Then your application can be container, meaning your application can running on the container runtime, which could be Docker or it could be AKS, right? So I will be showing my PowerPoint slide later, but basically these are the 3 lines, just 3 lines to create the AKS. And if you have enough money to play with the Kubernetes service, this is purely the VM cost. Just go ahead to creating like 10 node cluster for Microsoft's sake, so we can make money. All right, that's it for me today. Thanks for listening. Back to you guys, Singapore.
Are we going to entertain questions or do you have any questions from Singapore? No questions from Singapore. Ken, shall we? Do you have anything to discuss from Japan side or just?
Do you have any question in this room? No, everything crystal clear. No questions.
This is the second speaker now. Welcome to share to us about the static site breaker for client.
All right, so from here, we have another speaker in the Singapore side, and they are sharing their screen to do the broadcast. So if you want to stay, I recommend you to stay. Otherwise, it's 9 p.m. already. You can leave anytime. But before doing that, please write down your name and the company name to my Excel sheet so that I can hand over to the reception.
Did you say Excel sheet?
Excel sheet. I said Excel sheet. Database. My local awesome database.
Yeah, all that fail over. And I was following with this.
Yeah, it's going forever. So I just do the stop sharing, and I just coming back to the.
I'm gonna do the Couchbase Kubernetes for my next presentation. So I found all the same steps you showed, just except for Couchbase instead.
Some feedback.
Yeah.
No, that's not
I will
feedback,
mute
that's
my.
traditional singing. That's why they call it Singapore.
I wonder if I mute my microphone, is this muting the YouTube as well?
Well, we're not hearing them.
Well, they even even muted yet, though. They're muted, though, look.
Yeah. They will start in, not right now, right? I think they will start right in 10 minutes.
They're doing stuff there.
Yeah.
Perhaps they're trying to unmute themselves.
They're changing the volume, but they're still muted. They're speakers.
So I can mute myself.
So it just means they double muted now.
Yeah. And I just want to
You
make
should
sure
Unmute from your
that
side. Because they're muted from whereby.
Is that something we can unmute?
Yeah. Just
Okay, you probably have to unmute.
right click on them.
well, I mean, I can unmute, but I want to respect their privacy. I don't want. So I just let in the guy on the Singapore to let them know they are muted. I'm just trying to be nice.
I think they're confused why their sound doesn't work. Hello.
Hello.
Well, we don't have a camera, do we? So.
We do.
We
Just
do.
only shows Ken.
So our camera is here.
Oh.
Can you hear us now?
Yep.
Yes, we can hear now.
So can you hear us?
Yes, we can hear.
They haven't turned off the speaker on their side, I think.
Yeah, their side is.
But they are muting here. So it's a bit big.
I don't think they can hear you saying you can hear them.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's why they're confused.
Just a little bit. They're muted again, I think.
Yeah, they muted themselves. No, not that one. That's the one.
I know.
Okay.
But I just unmute this one.
Did not look at the chat.
Yeah. So what I can do is let me just mute this one and let me just unmute. Oh, why it is mute? And unmute.
That microphone is off.
Yeah, they have to turn that one off.
Ah. We still hear the sound.
Okay. So I think both are very good.
I think he's starting to talk about
Yeah.
his life. Get him to share his screen.
Yeah.
This looks familiar.
Yeah. Wait.
So what we will talk about is the first one, I started a generator, then what is the concept, how to start, and demo. So demos to optimize performance and not performance. We will need to use the 100 for all the okay, going to fix generator. So in 2000, that's the best popular the content systems system that was heavily websiting some kind of content system. Then 2010 start so your development application. And nowadays, I think there is still framework to this application. And I mean, SPL like really don't focus for these two technologies because our further about what it is for.
I guess we know how people at home feel now.
But HTML. And for some, in some cases, I mean, still people stage. The reason why.
Okay, so they are bringing the two laptops side by side now, so that we should be able to hear a bit better. Focus.
Thanks.
For example, to have the personal websites, blogs, or even software documentation, API documentation, and so on. People that do that aggregation, you can just take documentation at once and it can be served with us. Then also deployment is really easy and especially when it's supported by the access.
In the YouTube, I share the funds.
I think nowadays not very cheap or pretty most websites. That's what they use. CPU providers can very cheaply. And the last thing, although it's very simple, running content and the hackers can really take your content and so what is VM? VM is static content generator. Means I mean it's not only for it's mostly used probably for websites, but it's not necessarily the packages. You can really manage any kind of content. It's implemented in Node 2.1, and it's open source. You can find open source for development, and it may be sometimes useful, especially to users to update things. And compared to some other static site generators, it's configure really not especially the configurations which are all so how does it work? Again, it's quite simple. I mean, you have some input directory that you have input content. For example, the markdown file, which is even other static file. Then we have the write tool. It also includes the configuration for this tool. The configuration tells like how the content should be processed. And then basically generate the output is really the website and the output format. And that's usually the static HTML file. So how it works in more detail. So if we have this something like document, content object, document is the content that is somehow processed. Again, it can be like markdown file, HTML file, image, etc. And each document includes two stars. One is the content itself, which is some kind of string, and then is the data. It's actually dictionary. Dictionary. Mentally, it contains title, published, and author, and so on. And the values of the metadata can be
If you did, please write down your name.
then the next part is the company module. Module is complement that it takes the system of documents and process it somehow and generate something to the output. Like, for example, there are only files components actually read all the HTML markdown file. What expensive is like create the document. Then the markdown document will basically find all the take all the documents in memory and convert the markdown to HTML. And then, for example, unify HTML, it takes all the HTML documents, unifies the PHP document, then for example, guide file takes all the documents that is specified and then the pipeline is basically just a sequence of modules that we decide to process. Like we have this example, like a pipeline sequence, like it first delete the file and convert markdown to HTML and define to HTML writes files. And then, so this is, for example, how it works. So when you build some document A, document B in the input folder, then the module file basically takes those documents on the document A and converts it to document C. The document B and doesn't touch, just take it as it is. The second module actually takes these two documents, combines it even together in a single document B, and this may be the output to our side of the generator. So this way, I mean, yeah, that's basically how the Vine is flexible. You can build your own pipeline and put there almost anything. But I mean, for easier use, Vine contains two recipes, presets. One is block and one is docs or API documentation. And preset is actually something like the template or the predefined pipeline. So it contains a predefined pipeline. And yeah, all of them are in the pipeline. For example, for block, it again is as an image generate the result of markdown files, you process the later pages, will show later on, generate the index page and all the block, the list of blog posts, generates the text, so on. And the last concept is theme. And theme is, again, very simple concept, is actually the default content, default content that should be processed. So I mean, usually it is like, for example, the layout page, some images that should be the output, the JavaScript file and CSS example. And again, it works very simple. I mean, this is basically like the default content, and you can override each file, I mean, basically including your input, and then, I mean, it's not just this file is taken from your input and not from the theme. So, I mean, again, you can use the default theme, but if you don't like this part of there is page header, I mean, you don't like the page header, you can just take this file, override it in your input, and so you can have a custom. I believe that's basically all. So how to start? Yeah, the easiest installation is using dotnet tool as a dotnet tool. I already have it installed. And now it's basically time for demo. Yeah.
He's using PowerShell core.
Oh, I just done that recently. I forgot my batches.
Better. Even more. So let's see. So as you can see, I already installed it. So this is basically the easiest way how to install the main tool. There are some extra modules, but I mean, I found it really very simple. So, and so how to start with VM is maybe just create new directory on my blog. So these are basically VM2 has 4 commands. One is to build, that is actually the default command. So if I just type VM, it will automatically build the website. Then renew actually creates the new like the new project in the current directory. And preview actually starts the preview server, and it compiles and starts the preview server so you can really see the website. So, and the help is actually this is the both commands that are available. So I will just start new service. Goodbye.
I wish he would get rid of that.
Right.
Sharing your screen notification.
New project.
Nice, schiat.
From this. So, as I mentioned, what is actually the input? I mean, the input is the configuration. This is the configuration. I will get back to it. And the input content. And what I can actually define in the configuration, usually 2 things. I mean, at first, like the global settings. Global setting, like each reset defines their own setting. So if you open it, if I open both, it's like here are the settings. So this is basically all the settings that I can configure in block design. There's one thing, and then another thing, if I can show later, I can actually even customize the pipeline. And then the content actually here are just two markdown files. One is the about page, and one is the blog post. Now let's build it. So this is how we build it. Yeah, unfortunately, I don't know, like building takes some time, when the project is quite small. Now, if you look, basically here is the output folder. So again, I mean, as I presented, that it like takes the input folder, generates the output folder. So pretty simple. And then we can preview it. I mean, dash B is starts the preview server, and dash W is watch. Basically, it watches for all the changes, and automatically actually reloads the new page when we change something. This is the site. Yeah, so this is basically the website generated by blog so this is my first post. And this is the about me page. That will basically the another markdown. So for example, if I change here me, community, I save it. I create it all the information. So, and the next thing is that, as I thought, I mean, each document has content and metadata. So we usually, when we use this triple dash to actually split two parts in document. So this first part is actually contains the metadata. And yeah, again, this is actually YAML format. Maybe more visible here. So I mean, again, this is YAML like key value pair. But I mean, for example, we can have tags. I'm not sure if it works this way, but I think it may be. I don't think this really works, but it's somehow possible, to let's say, like using the list, and so on. And the second part is actually the markdown. So, the formatting. So, okay, so let's check what other notes I would like to show. Yeah, so this was a simple blog post. What we can add is our eraser pages. We will go a bit faster through it. So let's go for my page. So this page. Okay. here I want to show several things. So one is the razor pages, and projects. So one very nice thing about WAM is that in addition to Markdown, we can actually use also the razor pages. Actually, this way we have really paper-generated dynamic content. Dynamic can be composed of different things. And what is actually quite nice, that the page, we can even use the pipeline or the document which was generated in different pipeline. I also in this way, so I have this here. It will please relatively simple page, like it's the list of projects, like each project has some description, some image title, and so on. So I mean, I'm not sure if I will be able to format it in Markdown directly, but I mean, I decided to have like each project in separate pipeline, in separate document. So here I basically did, for example, for the first project was load time. For this load time project, I created separate Markdown document where the description is Markdown, and then other things, other metadata like the title, then which is the to the image. It is actually this one. And order number is somehow the number, so I can specify the order, how it should be ordered on the page. And then, if I go to configuration, and here I said, I mean, I can specify the settings, and I can actually modify the pipeline. So here in the pipeline, or I inserted the new pipeline that should run as the first one. It's inserted really at the beginning, where I want to generate the projects. And this pipeline is very simple. I mean, at first, I mean, it contains three modules. The first one is read files from all Markdown files from project folder. Then basically from these documents, it extracts the metadata in YAML format. And then the content is, I mean, the Markdown content is then converted to HTML. So here you can select the HTML document of the project, or the document. And these documents then can be used in other pipelines. But how I use those is that I have this project razor page where basically I read all the documents from project pipeline. Here is, for example, for each document I can get the metadata, or I mean I can order it by order number. And then again, I mean, I can generate the dynamically HTML. So for each document, I mean, again, it is not the first one. I generate the horizontal line, then I get the title and image from the document metadata, and then it just really generated or generate the HTML, including the header, the image, and the basically images and description as HTML. So again, I mean, these are kind of really quite useful or very flexible that we can use the Razor pages. I mean, we can include the C sharp and the combination of HTML and C sharp. So let's talk about the Razor pages. Next demo is override theme. And override theme again, so we can even show it on the other blog post. So as I mentioned, Lion project is open source. The good thing is that in the GitHub actually includes all the themes. So maybe let's view how can different themes, for example, Stellar, as an example. So how to specify theme is Stellar. Funny thing actually about the design configuration project, I mean, actually this is also C# code. You can see even here it's even better. This is the C# code. Here are the comments. I mean, this is really the dictionary that I did, the modified dictionary. And also, I mean, these are the .NET objects, and they use the C# code to modify the pipelines. And basically, the ASI and theme are specific compiler directives. Yeah, these are recognized by the FDL. So I specified in Stellar. Now, specific. So it changed the theme, as you can see. And yeah, for example, I want to change the footer. So from the Stellar, for example, here is the footer. And so this is basically the default content of the that is used by the generator. So if I want to change the footer, so I just take this file and copy it in my blog input here. And I mean, this footer file is not taken from the theme, but from this folder. I want to change it, for example, design generated by VM, for example, Meetup, as an example. And as you can see, it is visible even thing in background. So this way we can actually customize the theme. So again, relatively simple. And so next one is API documentation. As I said, so one of the areas is the blog. Another side is document docs that we can generate API documentation for your library. Can I open the project? Lightning Poker, that is like my pet project, playground project. And for example, this library that has several classes and like Lightning Poker. In each class has XML documentation, I mean, like all the members and so on. or then if I want to generate like nice page with the documentation, with API documentation, I just basically need to enable generate document file. We have one thing is that I just learn is the file from properties and actually set that thing even here. But, yeah, I mean, if you check this in UI, then in CS Pro, it actually write the full path to the file, and that's actually not what we want because, for example, on the build server, it probably won't work and they will want the correct path. But I mean, you need to directly CS profile, I mean, edit this element, generate the documentation file, and basically then it does what you want. It actually generates the XML file with already built. I can show it in editing. Basically, it generates DLL and also a XML file with the documentation that is also used to IntelliSense and so on. And I want to generate the yeah, find Poker Docs. Security, so it's from scratch. So I create file composing. I will just check settings and do it correctly. This one. And here I will just put input part to my DLL. Again, I mean, probably should not be the absolute part, but I mean, for this demo it's fine. And so let's again build it. Yes. Because I'm running already the other. I will stop this type. again, I could specify different port for the web server. So this is this is the default website for the documentation, and again next to the start with the API documentation. Basically, it generates like for all the namespaces. Like these are the classes that, for example, on the here are the interfaces that on the interface, and with the documentation of all the properties, methods, and so on. And it is a combination of the metadata from DLL, they take the kind of types and so on, and from XML, and it takes all the summary and documentation and so on. So there's an open specific method here. I can see like what is the return type, what are the parameters and so on. That's one thing, and then although I can have also like additional static sites where I can have, for example, some like generic documentation, how to use the library, what are the principles, and so on. One, for example, using this to use the library takes these steps, and create the, for example, and if you open usage, did I break anything? No, I mean, the next to the API documentation here are the static content. As I said, I mean, this can be really used for like some architectural documentation or so. And then the next demo is the continuous delivery. And I think that why nowadays static site generators are much more useful than before is basically thanks to two things. I mean, we have Git and we have a lot of tools for continuous delivery. So I mean, therefore, the Git can be used really for the collaboration on the content, even the version control and so on, and the continuous delivery you can use to automatically generate the content, publish it, and so on. And I will just go through how I set it up for my website in Azure DevOps. Basically, this is the deployment pipeline for using Azure DevOps, where there are basically three steps. The first step is actually to install the VM tool. So basically, I just run the dotnet core custom command. The custom command is tool, and the arguments for it actually to install the tool VM tool. The next is actually to run VM in the current directory that basically builds the website. And then last, I mean, it may be optional, basically I read the output file, output directory, into webzip. Then I can publish it, and then the last step is actually the output directory, which is uploaded via FTP to a web server. So again, I mean, they're like very simple, but very effective. I mean, whenever I commit something to repository. I mean, in like when we need the pages, the website is updated. And the last thing might be the dynamic content. Oh, we will go through it very quickly. Then I mean again, from time to time it may happen that I mean most of the website is static, but there might be some kind of dynamic content. Like in my case, or in this case, I have contact form. Basically, the user can have the data like the name, email address, so on, and he press send, and then in the end I should receive the email with all this data, and I can respond to that. So how it is done? Basically, the sending of email is provided, I mean, provided by Sendgrid, that yeah, the service to an email. Then, but it actually includes some, I need to log into this service. So therefore, I create a user function. And again, I mean, it's very simple. It basically just accept the HTTP request. Okay, can you open it here? This one. If we open the code, yeah, this is the simple function. I mean, it basically just is triggered on the Azure function, triggered on HTTP request with post command. Basically, it takes the input. From the input, it emits email data. The email data is again very simple. It just contains the properties like sender email, sender name, and so on. And then basically you will send Gary to actually send the mail. And then on the one, on the client side, I mean, yeah, so this is the HTML for contact form. As this theme already includes Bootstrap, I mean, I use Bootstrap for formatting. And then in the end, I mean, I just load some JavaScript, and the JavaScript is again quite simple. Basically, it just takes or reads again the jQuery. It uses jQuery to read the data from the form. Forms they validate the data and forms the JSON request, REST request to Azure function. And again, I mean, it is very simple. So I mean, jQuery is quite sufficient to use it, even though it's like quite old library. So then also on the client side, there's also another thing even easier into this side. They have a pretty clear like how to, if you want to comment in your blog post, so to like this. They have a big like how to use the discuss service. There is a discuss service that can include commenting in your static blog post. So I think that's all related to demo. And what is actually the future of VM? Basically now Alpha VM is creating a new version, so maybe starting. easy to install. Uh, you may probably create like a new activity in the framework. You can actually click the start project that actually generate your website. I mean, the bigger advantage may be that you really need to create a C# project, which are doing a bit more complicated. But on the other side, uh, I mean, the main disadvantage of the configuration file is the limited C# file or C# language. I mean, this file doesn't have all that information. So I mean, we use the reverse project for configuration and we can do all the functions there. So that's also my side. Hopefully this can hear us. Are there any questions from the panel? Just I need
Japan is still there. Hello. Hello. Japan still there.
Yeah, we're here.
Any questions from Japan?
Yeah, just one question because this is a content management system, right? So in Japan, there is a one content management system called Movable Type, which is quite popular in Japan. Do you guys also using the Movable Type in Singapore?
Can you repeat one more time? We just increased the volume.
Yeah, sure. So in Japan, this is a content management system, right?
uh, yes, it's correct. It's yeah, some kind of content management system. Again, I mean, like if you take like really broad definition of content management system, then yes, it
Yeah,
is.
and in Japan, there is a one content management system called Movable Type. Have you ever heard that?
Sorry, which one?
Movable Type?
No, I never
Okay,
heard
so
about.
then no worries. I just want to know what's the recognition level of the movable type in Singapore. Okay, no worries.
Okay, any other questions?
The one that you showed on Razor is very interesting. Do you know if they have plans to use the Razor to this WebAssembly as that generation?
I mean, basically, yes. I mean, again, the Blazor is like separate technology. So we can build the Blazor application, and then you just include it in your static website, and you just need uh, yeah, to include it. But I'm not sure. I think at the moment, I have a feeling like Blazor does not integrate well when does not integrate well if you have Blazor content and not Blazor content. I think there's at the moment like a single page application. I mean, maybe in the future that will do some like better integration with like two different technologies.
Otherwise, thanks,
Yeah.
Rasta.
Okay. Thank you.
Ken, do you have any last words for the meetup?
No, that's it for from us. Thank you.
Thanks. Also, Japan Meetup and Singapore. Thanks for coming here, especially those people who are didn't know. So, yeah, with that, thank you everyone, and hope to see you in the next video. There's some chocolates here. I think Rascal here.